Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to give you a brief review of the pilot episode of the new Netflix horror series, The Haunting of Hill House. A series that is directed by Mike Flanagan and has quite an impressive cast, including Timothy Hutton, Henry Thomas, Lulu Wilson, and a whole host of others. And this is a film, to be honest, I'd not really heard much about this show. And I wasn't really going to give it any attention. Generally speaking, I struggle to have time to watch TV shows. But this has been getting a lot of buzz. I keep seeing things on social media, people saying, "Oh, this is the scariest show they've ever seen," and people are fainting, and then quotes from Stephen King saying it's almost perfection, and this, that, and the other. So I'm thinking, oh, my interest is peaked now at this point. So I thought, well, I'll tell you what I shall do. I shall give the pilot episode a go and see where we go from there. And I have done that now. I have watched the pilot episode of this show. And I have to say, guys, yes, I am on board with this show. And in case you don't know, this horror show focuses on a family. The Crane family, who... It's kind of set in two time periods. You've got the Crane family when they're kids, and Henry Thomas plays the father. So it's set years ago when they actually lived in this supposed haunted house, and it's also set in the present time when they're all grown up, and Timothy Hutton then plays the father. Where they're all grown up. One of them's a horror novelist, a successful horror novelist, and they're all living their lives. And it is clear that this house has scarred some of them in pretty significant ways. And we are giving glimpses in this first episode of some of the potential horrors that this house delivered. Now, I'm guessing that as the episodes go on, I think there's 9-10 episodes. As the episodes go on, we're going to learn more and more about why, near the end of this episode, we see a clip of the dad, Henry Thomas, evacuating the house double fast, stuffing all the kids in the car, the wife supposedly committed suicide, driving off. Almost Amityville-like. So this house has got a reputation of like the Amityville house, like the most haunted house in America. So we know that there's some pretty sinister things going on in this house, but you only see little brief snippets in this pilot episode of the potential horrors that might be in this house. So we've got that, and then we've got the modern day stuff where the youngest daughter, Nell, who is now all grown up, obviously deeply affected still by this house, and by the end of this episode, she's kind of being drawn back to this house. Timothy Hutton, the father, shooting cross country to try and help his daughter. And we've got Stephen, the horror novelist, who basically is, even though he writes horror books and stuff, spends his time trying to prove that the supernatural really is not really the supernatural. It's actually natural events that haven't been understood yet. He's kind of that way. I think he doesn't believe in ghosts kind of stuff. So he's trying to seek out these people's stories so that he can experience things potentially, but he never does. As he explains to a woman in this episode, he's never seen a ghost. Well, potentially by the end of this episode, that could well be no longer a thing. So that's the basic setup of this first episode, and I think obviously as each episode goes on, we're going to get more of when the family was young and more of the modern day stuff, probably when they're all going back to this house. It's got a very Stephen King feel about this, almost like It. You've got them when they're young and you've got them when they're adults. It's got a very, very Stephen King feel about it so far, this show. And I've got to say, guys, for a pilot episode, it was deeply interesting, if not terrifying. I'm not going to lie and say I was jumping off my seat with the terror and fear that it was giving me. There were some pretty effective scares in the first episode, but nothing terrifying. But I suppose the pilot episode, you don't want to, get rid of all your best scares in the first episode. It's probably going to build up to some really good stuff. But I thought this was an effective pilot episode, guys. I think I'm going to try and watch the rest and binge watch the rest of this over the weekend if I get time. And I hopefully will do a full season review of The Haunting of Hill House next week. But yeah, I'm glad I've tried the pilot episode, guys. If you haven't tried it yet, it's on Netflix. Give it a go. It looks like it's going to be a good show. So I'm going to give it a very solid 8 out of 10 for the pilot episode. Pretty effective, very interesting, and I'm on board for the rest of the series, I think. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and once again, everybody, thank you very much for watching.